Hello students, welcome to this series on advertising. Today we are going to study the meaning, nature and concept of advertising. Now let us first study the objective of this module. The basic objective is to study the concept of advertising, the functions of advertising and the basic classification of advertising. Now let us first study the definition of advertising. The Institute of Practitioners in Advertising define the term as advertising presents the most persuasive possible selling message to the right prospects for the product or service at the lowest possible cost. So, advertising is a way where we try to deliver the message to the audience to buy the product. It has an identified sponsor and a channel in a media to reach to the audiences. Concept of advertising. The word advertising is a Latin word which means to turn attention of people to specific things. It is a paid publicity. According to Oxford Dictionary, the word is to advertise means to make generally or publicly known. It describes publicly with a view to increase sales. Now, what is advertising according to different perceptions is, that is, it is a paid publicity. According to the dictionary meaning, it is to make people aware, that is, you want to make things known to people, you have to advertise, you have to go and tell people this is the product, this is the sponsor and what are the benefits. Advertising is a form of communication. It is a tool of mass communication. It is paid form by a firm or an individual and the ultimate purpose of this is to give information, develop attitudes, induce action and this is useful to the advertiser. Now, advertising is basically a public forum through which we speak to the audiences. We advise them, we give them consultancy, we alter their attitudes, we inculcate the trust and try to advocate that what are the benefits of the products, services or ideas we are selling. Advertising and contact creation. It upholds the ideas, commodities and services of a recognized advertiser. It builds a link between the producer and the buyer. Advertising presents a mass persuasion. It creates awareness and popularity. It is effective and extensive and less expensive way of creating contacts. So, advertising is a platform on which we can create our contacts with customers in terms with their data, that is name, address, information, what they want, what are their taste preferences. So, a platform where you can understand your customers. It is a link between the buyer and the seller, that is who is selling the product. So, you have an identified sponsor with a name, credibility and address. His identification in terms of trust is important, so that customers can complain and give grievances related to the products. So, that identity is important in advertising. Goals of advertising. The purpose of advertising is to sell something, a product, service or an idea. The real objective of advertising is to create effective communication between the goods and the clients and increasing their awareness. What is the real objective of advertising is to create an awareness among the audiences that these goods and services are available and these goods and services will add value to their life. Advertising's what are the basic immediate objectives? Is to make an immediate sale, to build primary demand, to introduce a price deal, to build brand recognition or brand instance, to create a reputation for service, reliability or give a research strength, to increase the market share. When we advertise, the immediate objective of any advertisement is to promote the product so that the customers can buy and people can get revenues. It is to make the brand recognized in the market. Okay, this is a person who is making this and this has to be sold. This is for a commercial purpose, because there are many things you do privately as a hobby and you are not selling. So, once you take this platform is you advertise for commercial, that is your ideas, your consultancy, your business is for selling. Characteristics of advertising. The normal characteristics of advertising is to create primary demand for a product category rather than for specific brand. It is believed that the product advertising must give stress on the brand name. Now, sometimes if advertising is focusing on the uses of the product, so it is advertising the industry. This can go wrong. If you are advertising on only on the importance of cleaning teeth, that means you are advertising on the total product usage of the cleaning agents of paste. But if you are focusing on the brand name, brand can become a culture. That is, sometimes advertising is so powerful that the proper noun has been converted into a verb, where like you can take the example of Xerox. Xerox is actually a brand name of a company which is manufacturing photostat machines, but we are not saying that you get this paper photostat, we say Xerox. So, Xerox has become a verb in common language. So, this kind of revolution in terms of brand recognition has to be the primary function of advertising. We should not advertise the industry usage, but advertise on recognizing and focusing on the brand aspect. Functions of advertising: it is to distinguish products from their competitors, to communicate product information, to urge the product use, to expand product distribution, to increase brand preference, and to reduce overall sale cost. Now, once you advertises, the efforts of the salesman will be less, he will involve less time to explain and demonstrate the product, because the advertisement is already running on the media. So, they understand the trust, they understand the quality, and the orders are given quickly and easily. So, the overall administrative cost of explaining, demonstrating reduces, because you have run the demonstration on the advertisement. Specialized functions: it is to inform customers about the product, service and the ideas, persuade consumers to buy, remove cognitive dissonance from minds of customers to reinforce positive feelings, dissuade public at large from buying certain products or services that are harmful for them. Advertising is a function which will obviously persuade masses to buy products at mass level. It is to enhance the usage of the product, so that the social transformation is there. We socially make people literate, so as to make them compatible to create platforms for other industries. See, for example, the digital transformation has made consumers literate to use smartphones in a competitive way, so as to file up their taxation and do compliances with the governance. So, this is to create a platform where public can be made educated to learn and use the gadgets, so that they can do their work in a quicker way. Otherwise, the platforms on papers would take lengthy hours of people, and it's lengthy consumption of paper. So, e-filing and e-compliances in terms of governance save lot of cost for the government also. So, advertising is basically trying to promote products and services which are for the social development of the people, and it is also dissuading people to use products which are harmful for their body, maybe tobacco, maybe alcohol. Actually, everybody knows that these are negative products. Informative advertising. Informative advertising, this type of advertising informs the customers about products, services, ideas of the firm or an organization. Information advertising is simply an advertising which gives you information of place, address, date, venue, that is all. This advertising is just giving you the address details. This is cheap and this is easy to be made. It does not require so much of innovation, like you have seen the classified ads which are just for 300 rupees or 400 rupees per column. So, in that little amount of money, you just can give the purpose, information and details, and people just drop a phone number and people can connect. Persuasive advertising. This type of advertising persuades and motivates the prospective buyers to take quick actions to buy the products or services of the firms. Example is buy one, get one free. So, this is persuasive, is you are forcing people to buy the products which are near expiry dates. We have products which if are not used within 2 months, they will be like a waste. So, it is the national food is wasted, it is the national efforts are wasted. So, then you can persuade the audiences is to increase the consumption and make the use of the products that they are sold. You can buy one get two free or buy two get one free, that depends upon the quantity, the stock and the availability of the cost and the budget of the sponsor and the investor. Reminder advertising. It reminds the existing customers to become the medium for heavy users. This type of advertising exercises help in keeping the brand name and uses the products in the minds of the existing customers. Now, reminder advertising is basically people who are connected with you, you can upscale these customers. If they are using your products in one segment is, you can generally force them to use the other segments also. Like if you are selling shoes and your company is generally branded in terms of giving good quality of shoes to the customers is, you can put up socks or you can put up laces and you can put up other associated accessories supporting the shoe industry. So, already customers who have problems with shoes can look up to you to give solutions. So, you can increase or you can generally remind the customers that this is a big brand and it is giving other solutions to upscale. Negative advertising. Negative advertising. This type of advertising dissuades a target audience from purchasing such products and services which would not only harm them, but also the society in general. Advertisements of various civic authorities against alcohol, tobacco and narcotics. This is the negative advertising which puts a pressure on the population is not to use those products. Not to use the products is the harmful products which can harm the society in general. It can reduce the productivity of the citizens, it can cause health pressures and increase expenditure on the Ministry of Health to give more hospitals and rehabilitation centers. So, unnecessarily the funds of the country will be wasted in managing the bodies of the people because they have used harmful products. So, this money can be channelized to bring up good babies, to bring good smiles on a younger generation and population who is taking birth. So, we have to resort on negative advertising so as to dissuade customers not to buy certain things which can harm their body. Now, let us study the classification of advertising. First classification is based on region. Global advertising. It is executed by a firm in its global market niche. Cable TV channels are used to advertise the products throughout the world. Global advertising is for multinational companies, for transnational companies and for companies who are working in more than one country, that is they are selling their products to the cross borders, maybe the exporters, they are importers or also they are multi-channel companies. So, this is global platforms are needed where you advertise on cable TV or through internet. National advertising. National advertising is executed by a firm at the national level. It is done to increase the demand of its products and services throughout the country. Example is BPL, Believe in the Best, Whirlpool refrigerator, Fast Forward, and that is these are the examples where products are sold in the national boundaries for national audiences in terms of cost and budget. Maybe a MNC company which is working in different company, but they will design a national campaign to focus on the class of audiences who have a constrained budget and they are related to particular festival, and they will use the national channels to advertise the products. Regional advertising. If the manufacturer confines his advertising to a single region of the country, its promotional exercise is called regional advertising. This can be done by the manufacturer, wholesaler or retailer of the firm. Examples is advertisements of regional newspapers covering those states or districts where these newspapers are circulated, like Dainik Bhaskar or Rajasthan Patrika. Sometimes the regional barriers are there of language and the regional barriers of taste and cuisines are there. So, we can use the regional channels, that is you have language channels and language newspapers, local newspapers who would advertise only in particular regions. Local advertising. When advertising is done only for one area or city, it is called local advertising. Some professionals also call it retail advertising. It is sometimes done by the retailer to persuade the customers to come to his store regularly and not for any particular brand. Like local FM channels is the best example. Local advertising is to promote your store or your shop or your address in a local area where you are selling your products, services or ideas, because your services cannot go beyond this city. You do not have a chain there. So, there is no need to advertise it at regional or national level, the efforts will be wasted. You have one outlet which has to be made popular. So, the local channel of the TV or the print media or the brochure can be used. Classification based on target markets. Consumer product advertising, this is done to impress the ultimate consumer. This type of advertising is done by the manufacturer or dealer of the product. This is advertisement of Intel, Lakme Cosmetics. These companies are directly selling to the customers. So, they are trying to build the brands in terms to persuade the audiences and make their names popular and a household name, where the consumer products are fastly moving into the lives of the people. So, these are the FMCG products which are directly used by the consumers. Industrial product advertising. This is also called B2B, that is a business to business advertising. This is done by the industrial manufacturer or his distributor. It increases the demand for the industrial products or services and it is directed towards the industrial customers. This is between the like the dealers selling the products to the retailers or the manufacturers selling to the dealers. So, manufacturers business is not to directly connect with the customers, they only need to make their dealers happy and satisfied. So, they are trying to create this advertisement by creating lot of sales promotion material and they are trying to advertise it on B2B basis, that is business to business clients are also important. Trade advertising. Trade advertising, the manufacturer persuades wholesalers and retailers to sell his goods. Different media chosen by each manufacturer according to product type, nature of distribution channel and resource availability. Sometimes the products are not spoken about in media, but here we gear up the dealers to give them the best of the schemes to promote the products in their own channel. Here the retailer and the dealers do their best to select their own clients and put the products in the channel. This type of advertising, trade advertising is very popular in travel industry, where you have the tour operators and you have travel agencies where they have the connections and they have the houses who promote and bring customers to them. Professional advertising, it influences the professional of a particular trade or a business stream. Professionals recommend or prescribe the products to the ultimate buyer. Manufacturers of these products try to reach these professionals under well prepared programs. Doctors, engineers, teachers, purchase professionals, all professionals who need heavy advertising. Now, the new updates in medicines, the new publications of the books and the new materials or the substitutes coming construction industry cannot be directly advertised to the customers. Even if the customers know it, how they will use it, because they do not have a mindset to analyze the subject in an expert way. If you know a substitute in a construction industry, you are not an architect to use that product. The layout and the usage can go wrong and the cost will also be high. So, the manufacturers in this industry who are publishing books and who are into drug industry and who are into construction try to connect with the experts of the industry. They advise their clients because they work for the clients on payment basis. So, if the product is popular with these professionals, it will reach to the customers. Financial advertising, the banks, the financial institutions, the corporate firms issue advertisements to collect funds from the markets. They publish prospectus, application forms and place them at points where the prospective investors can easily spot them. Now, financial advertising is very important weapon and a tool for banks to collect fund. Maybe the investment is in real estate or is in securities or into banca insurance. The channels are very strong in terms where they connect with the people through the fixed supply chain. You have prospectus and the forms which are available at the bank centers and the financial institutions, or at very big airports and hotels where the ATM machines are there, where people can collect the forms and try to invest money in any kind of scheme. Classification of advertising on demand, market demand. Advertising is the total volume that would be bought by a defined customer group in a defined geographical area in a defined time period in a defined marketing environment under a defined marketing program. So, what is the demand you are generating is in a given period of time in a given area for a specific budget. So, that is what the market demand is. How do we try to fulfill that demand is that if you have limited editions of 100 best products, where you are selling, to whom you are selling is decided by the campaign, and the amount of period has to be enclosed. Company demand, it is the share of the company, the market demand. Accordingly, there are two types of demands. One is primary demand and the other is the selective demand. Now, the total demand is for the product, and what is the company demand is how much the company is able to fulfill, because you do not have the production capacity so as to reach to all the customers. You have a capping on your production schedule. So, maybe you have a 30% of the market share or maybe 20%, because your machines are not able to work beyond that. And if your production capacity can be increased, then only the advertising can be taken to that level. Now, what is primary demand? It is called the generic advertising. This category of advertising is designed to increase the primary demand. This is done by trade associations or groups in the industry. Primary advertising is done by many companies at the same time, but there is no competition. The idea is to generate a continual demand for the product. Now, sometimes there are trade associations, there are cooperatives who are trying to move the product, because the brands will come after a certain time. You have generic medicines available in the market. Now, the generic is the basic salts which are available in the market. They also need to be made popular so that the drug industries can use them and take it to the customers. So, these the research institutes and the trade associations, they try to advertise the primary generic salts, and after that each salt is given the name and the brand and the classification according to the type of the audience and the type of the market. Selective demand advertising is done by the company or the dealer to increase the category demand of the company. The company would advertise its own brand only. The retailer can also advertise a particular brand, example the Titan wristwatches, the Hero Honda bike. So, this is particular fixed category brand in a particular area. They are going to make their name popular in local areas also. Classification on desired response. Direct action advertising, this is done to get immediate response from the customers. Example is the season sales purchase coupons in magazine. Now, when you want to have an immediate sales, you have to give discounts and coupons, so that you will enclose a time period, that is within 1 month you can encash this coupon. So, you will see the fall of customers within that period, because they want to use the coupons and they want to get the discounts. Indirect action demand. Advertising exercise is carried out to make a positive effect on the mind of the reader or the viewer. After getting the advertisement, he does not rush to buy the product, but he develops a favorable image of the brand in his mind. Now, direct action is you are motivating and persuading the customers to buy the product immediately within 1 month. Now, but there are certain companies who do not want immediate effect. They want that the customers should have a positive perception about the brand and should take the time to do a research and connect them in a loyal way. So, for this content marketing and articles and research and giving instructions, giving them videos, playing with them, their art and creativity becomes an important form of advertising. You can see the ads of the Fevicol, where they take lot of efforts to give you lot of variety in terms of instructional videos, which are very beautiful to teach you art, how to use. So, they are giving you craft classes. Now, here the aim of the company is that they are inculcating these skills in the audiences, so that if they get interest and passion in a particular craft, they are obviously are going to buy your Fevicol products later. First is people need to have skills to use the products. If you are not a painter or you are not a craft person, you do not have an idea how to make your house beautiful, is you need instructional videos. So, this is an indirect action. First you will train the audiences, you will give instructions, you will give images, designs, art, and then create a follower group who will use your products. Then is internet advertising. The World Wide Web is used extensively to promote products and services of all genres like www.teleshop.com, www.asianskyshop.com. So, internet has become a big way to promote your products through websites and social platforms. Advertising on basis of demand, region, response, time, budget has diverse way to touch people's life. Now, let us study the summary of this lecture. In this lecture, we have studied the concept and definition of advertising. Advertising is to advocate, is to make people aware. So, that is the basic function of advertising. Advertising has to create demand for the products, and advertising has to create and make brands powerful in the market. Both the functions are important for advertising, but branding is more important for advertising, because if brands become popular, automatically the usage becomes more. I hope the students must have understood the concept and importance of advertising and the classification and details. Thank you, students.